There's a large debate ongoing now on the future of transport, and it needs a lot of imagination from all of us. If you ask the shippers, and the shippers are in fact sort of the transport buyers, what for them are the largest challenges. I think I need to refer to a number of issues, and it's difficult to say them in just a few words, but let me try to point out a few challenges to them. I think first of all we need to see that globalization is there to stay. Even if in recent time we've seen some sort of a backlash in globalization with some of the manufacturing industry a bit moving back in Europe, a bit closer to where the markets are. I think we see with other markets developing, looking at sort of Russia, India, the rest of Asia, I think globalization is there to stay, and these trade developments will also sort of determine the needs of transport flows and the needs of transport for the future. I think that's the first thing to look at. Shippers, they need all transport modes to become more efficient and more green. One of the most difficult issues in front of us is sustainability of transport. I think there's no way in going into denial. For shippers, sustainable transport remains a challenge. I think the shipper needs to take his responsibility. I mean, what they can do, and it's not an easy task, is trying to reduce the amount of transport that they use. So not less trade, but the same amount of trade with less transport. And of course then with the transport that remains there, seek to bring down the greenhouse gas emissions from that transport that remains there. The first thing that industry is doing is try to cut cost. In a way I think that cutting cost, seeking to take out waste out of the supply chain, therefore is in a way also good for the environment, because you take out waste, you take out unnecessary transport means, and therefore you reduce emissions. But in a way there's only a limited amount of things that are available to industry. I think there should be more tools available for the industry, not the least because of the number of restrictions. Looking at sort of the number of empty vehicles that are there on the road. And why is that? That's first of all because of restrictions that are there, working time, driver's hours, restrictions on cabotage, restrictions on weights and dimensions. I think there's a big role there for the regulator, and we are disappointed that it is so difficult to take a number of measures that are basically very simple for the industry and that would bring a lot of efficiencies to the industry. And when I talk industries, of course the users, the shipper, but also the providers. That's sort of a naturally they work together.